how do you approach NIL with your own roster and how you, I was talking to another Power 5 coach about this, and he was talking about how, like, everyone talks about the portal and NIL, but like the really challenging part can be just your own roster and like them hearing how much maybe a portal player is making when he comes into the school, and that everyone then wants more money, and you got to manage your roster really, really well to make sure you don't lose guys. I mean, it's such a delicate subject now. How do you approach that?
I got a big announcement. I just released my brand new resource for anyone trying to get recruited to play college football. Whether you're a player, the coach of a player, a parent of a player, this resource will help you learn everything you need to know to dominate the college football recruiting process. It's called the Get Coaches to Call Game Plan, and inside I'll reveal the secrets that top recruits use to make dynamic highlight videos and get in touch with coaches, and I'll give you a step-by-step guide for how to get coaches to notice you and reach out to you. The best part is that it's totally free. All I need is your name and your email. Check the link in the show notes. Now let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, ours is really, really simple. Like I think that's become the management of your roster, the management, and when I say the management of your roster, not purely the numbers of the roster, but like the actual players. Again, publicly you talk about management of rosters and like distribution of rosters,
scholarship spots,
and like the crazy thing is, we were talking about kids earlier, like well, those are actual like human beings, and they're actual players, and they are integral parts of the program, good or bad. But every single person within the program, staffing certainly, but the players, they can affect your team one way or the other. And so it's understanding that first, they're real human beings that we demand a lot of. And so the management of that, I again, part of why I wanted this job is because there's so much talent, not just in the state of Florida, literally in the 6 counties around us, but between Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Alabama, Louisiana, like you don't have to go very far. Like that's what's super intriguing about being here is that
PrizePicks is my favorite way to get action on sports. And I've tried all the different apps, daily fantasy, sports betting. PrizePicks is the very best. On PrizePicks, you pick players instead of teams. So if you know how players are going to perform, you can make tons of money on PrizePicks. On PrizePicks, each player has a set stat projection, and you pick more or less on that number. So for example, Steph Curry, more or less than 20 points. If you think he's going to have more, you pick more. If you think he's going to have less, you pick less. And when you're right, it hits. You pair that with a few other players, and you can make up to 100x your money. And the best part is I have a 100% deposit match up to $100 for all of you with code ADAMB or the link in the description. So if you put in $100 on PrizePicks, they will match that $100 for you. So then you get $200 to play with. So use code ADAMB for that 100% deposit match up to $100. Link in the description.
Like that's what's super intriguing about being here is that there is a lot of players. There's a lot of players that leave here and go somewhere else too. And so the intrigue of those guys being able to come back. And so what is the value of being in Tampa, Florida, and what is the value of being close to home? A lot of people would tell you it's huge. So there's some of that matters as well. But from a true NIL standpoint, and now what our jobs have become to the ability to manage it, I said when I got here, and I've stuck to this, that we're going to get the roster as good as we can, as fast as we can, to give us the ability to have a product that we can point to and say, man, like there is proof of concept. Like here's what we do offensively, here's what we do defensively. In year 1, we were able to win 7 games. Not the standard, but we had some really good highs. We had some really low lows too. But at least there's a foundation laid. So we had to go get some guys in the portal or junior college and say, man, like we have to be able to functionally create a product that could give you proof of concept so other kids would want to come here. After that, and I said it early and I've really stuck to this, we want to build it with high school guys. And again, being here, you have the ability to do that. So this job is really, really intriguing. I think is one of the best jobs in the country because there's enough high school talent regionally where you don't have to get on a plane most of the time that we can sell a product. Guys going all over the country, for a lot of guys, this is coming home. I want to be that in the portal more than anything else. So for us, where we've attacked recruiting is, I mean, can we get it in a high school player? Are we in a position at this spot to bring in a freshman and develop him, because retaining him is always going to be easier than finding him somewhere else. If we can't, we got to go to the portal. Well, when we go to the portal, are our relationships strong enough regionally, Florida, Georgia primarily, that high school coach will say, man, like, you should check out what those guys are doing at South Florida. Like, you should really look, like, what they've done with guys coming back home has been really phenomenal. Like, so the high school recruiting part of it is not just the actual high school recruiting, but we got to make sure those high school coaches, when that kid calls from wherever, it doesn't matter where, and says, man, like, I don't like it here, or I don't like my situation here, or God forbid a parent is sick or a grandparent is sick, or in this day and age, man, I'm having a baby. Like, I'd want to be close to family. Well, go check out South Florida. So we've tried more than anything, especially in this last year, to focus on guys wanting to come home more than we have anything else. So I say all that in a long-winded way. I want to recruit high school guys, and then through NIL, make sure the guys that have invested sweat equity into this place are the first guys that you take care of. And so when we've gone out in the portal, and you can read what you want, the truth is nobody actually knows what anybody's making other than the kid himself and maybe his family. Like, that's the truth of NIL, is that nobody actually knows. There's nothing disclosed. There's no collectively bargained agreement. This isn't the NFL. So whatever numbers are out there, I would tell you 95% of it ain't true. And so for me, again, what is the value of a young man coming back home? What is the value of a young man coming into a situation where they truly feel like they could come in and start? And so we've not chased the portal like maybe some other people have, because they've had to fit this distinct profile for us. And if you look at who we've recruited, primarily they're guys coming back, or guys that we have recruited at other places that we have genuine relationships with. Because if I've learned anything in the year and a half here, like, to just cold call a kid from Harrisburg, PA, you probably, one, ain't getting an answer. Two, you probably are going to have to pay him a bunch of money. And the worst thing I can do as a program is bring a kid here that's going to go into the locker room, tell everybody how much money he's making, generally going to elevate it, and blow up the entire locker room. I would rather not get the kid than blow the locker room up. And I know every coach will tell you that. When I tell you what I spend most of my time on now is guarding against that. And so if a kid's here and he's played and he's putting sweat equity in, I would 9 out of 10 times take care of that guy rather than bring somebody in this program that hasn't done it.
It's so interesting too, with just like how fast the portal moves, that you really have to have a previous relationship or know someone who knows the kid well. I remember when I was at ASU and the portal just started being a thing, and like we moved ultra fast on a kid because he was a former 4-star, wanted to get him. Ended up completely missing. Like, he had this crazy medical history, and we didn't talk to just like, because you got to move in like 2 days and make a decision. So it's like you almost have to know the kid somehow before you
have to know the kid. And to be honest with you, and maybe this is trade secret, but I've not taken a single young man in the portal here that I've not talked to the head coach where they're leaving. And there's some that phone calls of some coaches that I don't know. But I feel like there is a mutual respect enough to say, man, like, coach, call me back. So inevitably what's happened is you've taken guys from places where you know the head coach, you trust the head coach. Because I've always said this in recruiting, I think where it gets really missed nationally is it's not the good players you bring in, and I truly believe this. I think it's the bad players you don't bring in. And the less misses you can have, the better you're going to be. And so recruiting is mitigating risk, right? Like, it's no different than in the NFL drafting. Like you're trying to mitigate risk. And so you may take, in your mind on film, a lesser player that's got less risk over the better player on film with a ton of risk. And now part of risk is NIL included. And so you've got to be able to mitigate risk and maximize the young man that you're bringing in. And so talking Yeah, like if you've recruited him out of high school, and again, this is why this place is unique, because every school in the country comes to Florida. Certainly comes to Tampa. Like there's a lot of kids elsewhere nationally that are looking to leave. That's why it's so important for us to be able to create relationships with them early so that we can get them. But like you said, if you're making a decision on a young man in 2 days, the risk involved with that is so great. As the head coach, I've got to figure out, is the risk worth the reward? And to be honest with you, 9 out of 10 times you'd say it's not.